fresh out of an ICE prison in Minneapolis. I've been arrested 3 times by ICE over absurdity, over us being ourselves, over me singing songs like, "Hey, Mr. Tangerine Man, get rid of brown people for me. I'm Aryan white. There ain't no place I'm going to." And then all of a sudden, he's not ready for primetime player ICE agents with 2 weeks of...
Okay. So, Charlie, today is Friday. That means it is Dumb Bleep of the week. That's the day of the week where we go through all of the submissions from the Fed Haters Club. Join gmail.com. We go through all the submissions that I put in there, that you put in there, and we condense them down to 10 options for the live group, the Fed Haters Club, to vote on. If you're not in the live group, that's fine. You can go to joingmail.com and join if you want to. But if you want to help this podcast in another, even simpler way, you can hit like on the YouTube video that you're watching right now, or comment if you agree or disagree with whatever it is we are saying throughout this video. All right. Does everyone understand the rules? Number one, we're going to go to New York and Zohran Mamdani. Now, this is kind of a two-parter dumb here. There's the first thing that a lot of people have been making fun of, which is that they opened it up. I don't know if you saw, where people could apply to shovel snow. Okay.
Yeah, so New York had like 2 feet of snow.
Yeah. The initial dumb on this is that the forms of ID you have to be able to apply and get approved to work are like harsher than anything they would ever support for, say, going and voting for your politicians or anything like that. And this is just to go shovel snow.
Well, that's more important, Nate.
Of course it is. And that's what everyone actually has responded with. Well, you've got a right to vote, and you don't have a right to earn money, I guess. Let me get the initial clip of Mamdani announcing this.
We're utilizing 33 DSNY vans and 2 DSNY buses to transport shovelers where they're needed faster. And for those who want to do more to help your neighbors and earn some extra cash, you too can become an emergency snow shoveler. Just show up at your local sanitation garage between 8 a.m. and 1 p.m. tomorrow with your paperwork, which is accessible online at nyc.gov/snow, and you can get started right away.
The other thing that's not shown in here is that you're supposed to bring the little passport photos. Like, before you do this, you got to go to like Walgreens and take a passport photo. You might as well get a passport there, because you're basically going to have to bring everything you need for a passport to be able to do this. You got to bring the little photos in there, and then you can get this job, which can pay like $30-40 an hour, depending on your snow shoveling experience. I think I don't know how they work out what your pay is, but it got even dumber than that, because
this sounds like a Republican mandate.
It does actually. And don't worry, we'll talk a little bit about the SAVE Act for Dumb Bleep number 2. It got a little dumber than that, because if you can imagine, a lot of people ended up deciding that, say, on average, $30 an hour to shovel snow was a pretty good deal. And there's these videos that started coming out last night of just dozens of people on a block. You know how there's that joke about a union job, and there's always like that guy watching? This is
there's more people watching than actually working.
There's like the people watching, and
what happens is you have like a dozen people standing around a ditch, and one guy with a shovel is in there.
Yeah.
And you've got a couple people talking in one circle, a couple people talking in another circle, and then a couple people are talking with the guy down in the hole.
Yeah.
And that's
and then the guy
in the hole is making less money than all the guys standing around.
There is. Yeah, and so this looks like a union job to infinity, basically, because it's just a lot of people just trying to shovel basically like the same sidewalk. And I actually would like to see the numbers on this.
Could you imagine? They're just shoveling the same snow. They're just moving it around.
I'd like to see the numbers on this.
Pile.
I bet a lot of businesses in New York are getting screwed right now, because a bunch of people are probably calling in so they can go shovel snow or something. There's a lot of people. Here's a video.
Seems like a racist program.
Oh, it's a very racist program. I can't believe you'd offer this whites only program, and of course only men that could apply for it as well. But I guess that's what Mamdani wants. Here's just a little video.
Yo, how much I get paid for this? $45 an hour?
Okay, so there's a little short there, a reel as the kids call it. It's the same video there. 16 NYC employees to shovel one corner is what In Wokeness says. Here's a top view of some of this going on. There's three people right here on what is about a 4-foot stretch of sidewalk working on shoveling this thing. There's two more people right there. There's two people right there. A couple people standing around over here. Someone taking a break. Much needed break.
Interesting, all these people had ID.
Yeah, seems to be a lot of people with ID. So then that's dumb. So you got the ID thing that's dumb. This seems like maybe you're misusing some resources, potentially. I don't know. It's a lot of people, but, you know, I guess if they're going block to block, they can get it cleared out pretty quick. You got that many people standing around watching a few other people work, and so maybe they're going to get it. And then there's like another dumb on top of it, the Crystal Ball, who, like, I don't know why. I still listen to her show like every day, mainly because I like soccer, but I still listen to Breaking Points every day. She's way crazier and dumb on X than she is on her show. So she says, MAGA very mad that Americans are getting jobs instead of spending money on Israel and billionaire tax cuts like their guy prefers to do. So there's a few things. There's a few things.
I don't know why they gave them shovels, honestly. They should have been using spoons.
Thank you
for this.
Yeah, there we go. This guy says, if the goal is jobs, why not just give them tablespoons? And I said, came here to say this. That is what I was coming there to say. Yeah, if this is a jobs program, then those shovels are way too big. Honestly, they don't need those shovels. You could just use your hands. Just give them some gloves. Maybe the actually hands might be too fast. I think the spoons are the better way to go. But of course, it's not a jobs program that you're supposed to be doing something productive for the community, which is removing the snow that's in everyone's way. And then you get that out of the way. And
so people can get to work easier and
can walk around, do their thing. It's not about
increased productivity.
It's not about just paying people randomly 30, 40. I guess someone in that line said they were making $45 an hour. I don't know how you determine the pay. Do you get to negotiate that? How does that work? It's a lot. And then, okay, spending money on Israel. I don't want to spend any money on foreign aid. And then spending money on billionaire tax cuts. And you actually, just by rule, like of math, you don't spend money on tax cuts. You spend money on spending money. And taxing less from people is not an expense unless you already like have ownership over everything in the economy and you're just being nice and allowing people to keep some of their money. It doesn't cost you, like, it's not an expense on the expense sheet to steal less money from people.
Yeah, what accounting school did some of these people go to?
I don't think they did at all. And it's like on my way into work. It's like this morning I was
like
gonna
not
steal.
Taxing billionaires would be listed on liabilities. On your ledger somehow.
On my way in, I was going to stop at my neighbor's house and steal $1,000 from them. Instead, I decided to be nice and I stole $500 from them, which cost me. That's a $500 expense when I write that down. That's okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty dumb stuff.
Can you write off that expense?
Write off the expense of not stealing,
not getting
the other $500 from that person. So overall,
you got to reduce your taxable income, man.
A lot of dumb to go around right there. While we're talking about the ID thing, we'll talk about the SAVE Act. And Senate Leader John Thune is they're busy. They're very busy, and that's the word around on social media right now. They got a lot of stuff that they got to vote for. And, of course, everyone's wanting them to go to a talking filibuster and pass the SAVE Act. Now, I've had words about getting rid of the filibuster, by the way, and it mainly comes down to the idea of, like, nuking the filibuster entirely, no filibuster allowed at all. The more and more I think into it, the talking filibuster is the original filibuster. That is the original like Senate rules. That is the way that we did it.
Yep.
And I'm fine with going back to that. And I think what's really scary about that is we think, well, no one's going to talk forever, and so that means anything that's going to have like a majority support, they'll be able to pass. If you don't have to get to 60, they're going to be able to pass like anything, and that goes for Democrats too, and that's really scary. And then I thought into it a little bit more. What do we typically know about the things they do agree and get the 60 votes on? They're terrible. Basically, everything that everyone agrees on is awful. It's always a move. It's always a move in the wrong direction when they decide that they can get the 60 votes and they vote on something. And I also think people in the Senate don't like having to do their job. And I also think there's many good ideas that people have that will say, well, that's never going to get the 60 votes in the Senate, so we're just not going to try to do that. In fact, I think we'll just have the executive do an executive order and try to force this without Congress having to vote on this thing.
And the reason for that is they don't want to put their name on the roll call.
Yeah, they don't want to do that. They like just pushing it off to the executive branch. And there could be a potential that this whole 60 vote threshold thing has led to a lot of power being pushed over to the executive branch. The way that we do the filibuster now is very backwards. The original idea of the filibuster was to stop the talking filibuster, and so they could do the 60 votes because people were holding up votes and all that. And so if 60 of them decided to vote to force those people to stop talking, they could do that. And this is a 1917 like Woodrow Wilson era rule. And, the more I think about it, I'm fine going back to the pre-1917 everything. And that includes states getting to appoint their senators as well. So we'll go ahead and repeal the 17th Amendment at the same time. Here's John Thune talking about the SAVE Act and all the other stuff that they have to do first.
What's your message to the Republicans in your conference who are pushing over and over again that you can do this with the talking filibuster?
Well, there are a couple things about that. One is, once we get on, if we were to go down that path, it's very hard to pivot and get back to open up the government. I frankly think we ought to. We need a deal, make sure that DHS, TSA, Coast Guard, FEMA, all those agencies are funded. And so I'm hopeful there will be a breakthrough on that. That's going to require some, obviously cooperation from the Democrats, which we haven't seen a lot of so far. But we want to get to the SAVE Act. We also, as I mentioned, we've got a housing bill that we can pivot back and forth to if we get a deal to open up the government. That's harder to do once you're in the throes of a talking filibuster. The talking filibuster issue is one on which there is not certainly a unified.
So the idea here is that they've got a bunch of other stuff, and meanwhile, DHS is still shut down right now. Technically, that's happening right now, and they don't want to do this whole SAVE Act thing because it's hard to pivot back and forth between the two things or the three things. I got a housing bill, and
so difficult.
They got different stuff to do, and at the end of the day, I think everyone's seeing Thune just doesn't want to do this. That's really he's just stalling basically. Maybe they're going to try and hold it through the midterm elections as like a thing for voters. Like, yeah, we're for sure going to do that after these midterm elections.
Just vote for us this year.
That could be the case. On the other side, a lot of Republicans are acting like we have to do this right now before the midterms. And let me just say this. Let me be clear. There is absolutely no way in hell that this rule is going to get implemented, that this law would get implemented before the midterms of this year, even if they're passing it right now. If they're passing it right now as we speak, it is not going to affect the midterms. It's not going to affect the 2028 presidential election. Real ID took 20 years for them to decide to implement it. This one might be faster, but it's going to take a really long time. It's going to go through court challenges. It's going to have no bearing on the midterms whatsoever, except for them dangling over people's heads, telling them that they're definitely going to do it if Republicans can keep their majorities. That's what's going on. But they are super busy, and I thought it was a good time to check in on the Doggi Gras parade they had at the Senate yesterday, or a couple days before.
We're checking in on their busyness.
Very busy things. This one's easy to pivot back and forth between.
Oh, yes. Then you have been hanging around the Senate button. Come on in.
There he is.
That is a super fat dog.
Oh, yeah, and the senator came too.
I don't. Okay, so
Riveting.
I like dogs. Okay.
Even fat ones.
Yeah, that's fine. I actually hate whatever. I don't like that dog. I'm not a fan
of the like French bulldog.
I don't like any dog that has like
the smush face.
Smush face.
Yeah. Well, you feel bad. They can't breathe very well.
I don't even feel bad. I just don't like them, and I don't want to be around them at all. Yeah, I can't stand it. They're gross. It's not cute. It's gross. Okay. Second off, aside,
weren't you around pugs a lot?
I was, yeah.
Oh yeah, you just love those.
Can't stand
little
those
licks
things
from those pugs. They're all cross-eyed.
They always got one snaggle tooth.
My parents were related.
I don't save act. Push the save act to the side. What the hell are these people doing? This is not important. They probably spent money on this thing. Okay. Although on the other flip side of that, I'm like, well, it's better than passing laws that are generally terrible. And so I guess if it prevented them from doing things that remove liberties from people,
but this is them.
Then that's one thing.
This is them being so busy.
They're not even. Why should we take them seriously? They don't take themselves seriously, and so that's fine. All right, number 3 is Gavin Newsom. We'll attach this with the voter ID thing, and then we'll move into some Gavin Newsom stuff. He says that we can't require voter ID because he lost his birth certificate when he was 7, which I don't know how it's real. He clearly travels around the world and has a passport. I don't know if he got a passport when he was 6.
And then just renewed it.
And then it just keeps renewing the passport. Mm-hmm. I don't, that could be the case.
No, I mean, so this is madness. Voter ID. It's not about voter ID. The SAVE Act's not about that. It's about registration. It's about proving your citizenship with a passport. Not everyone has a passport. I don't know you know where your birth certificate is? I lost that at 7. I mean, I don't even know where to begin to get it back.
He doesn't know where to begin to get it back. Well, he would just need to follow the rules of his own state, of which he is a governor, and just $34 though. And you go to the assessor, and
by the way, you can get multiple copies.
Yeah, you can get multiple. Put them in different places just in case you're going to lose some, whatever.
By the way, I was born in California. I had to get copies of my birth certificate. I had the original for my mom, but I needed copies for other things. And I had to go through the CDPH there because I was born in Oakland, California.
Well, you are white.
Oh, well, so is Gavin Newsom.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, he should be able to do it then.
He should be able to get it.
What's his problem?
I don't know.
Jeez, so there's this clip that went around, and just stick around through this for me. We're going to make fun of Democrats a lot, including Gavin Newsom, for the next little bit. But I do have an issue with this clip, and I'm sorry. And I do believe it's very important to be honest when you are critiquing people and making fun of people, because the way that it works when you're dealing with like psychopaths or narcissists or whatever, if you legitimately mess up or you legitimately do something dishonest, they will use that against you and be correct. And they'll use it against you all the time. And so it's just very smart to remain as honest as you possibly can in your dealings with people like this. And so there's this post from MWokeness that went around. It's got 58 million views at the time I took the screenshot last night. Quite a lot of views. And you've probably seen the clip. It says, Governor Newsom to a black crowd in Georgia. I am like you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. I can't read. So, and that is correct. When I saw that, I was like, oh my God. I was too embarrassed to even watch the clip. I was like, I can't even do that. I'm taking on all the embarrassment of what people in the crowd must have been feeling in this moment.
Reaction? What was the...
Well, the reaction was fine. like the reaction was fine because the post was a lie. It was not a black crowd. There are videos of the crowd, and it's actually kind of hard to find black people in the crowd. You only see white people in the crowd. And so that really just bothers me that you can do that and get so many views. There are so many ways that you can make fun of Gavin Newsom. He is so terrible on basically everything. And he's this rich guy, comes from a rich family. He's really playing this dyslexia thing right now. Like he's not even good enough to carry the dyslexic vote in 2028. I don't even know who he's pandering to right now.
If he can't read, how does he sign laws? What is he signing?
Then here's the clip, by the way.
I'm not trying to impress you. I'm just trying to impress upon you. I'm like you. I'm no better than you. I'm a 960 SAT guy. And I'm not trying to offend anyone, trying to act all there if you got 940. But literally a 960 SAT guy. I cannot, you've never seen me read a speech because I cannot read a speech.
Okay, so he got a 960 and he can't read good. And so you can imagine the way that it was worded, like here he is telling a black crowd, I'm just like you. I got a 960 and I can't read. Now, I don't know SAT scores because we took the ACT, right? So I don't know what
the translation is.
I think 1040 is the average from what I saw. If you look out into the crowd right here, I took a screenshot of the video, and it pans around from this stage, and you can see them talking. It pans around to this crowd. And
so he would have gotten around an 18 ACT.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Some people don't test well.
The average is
a standardized test.
19, right?
Yeah.
19 is the average ACT?
Yeah. I don't know what the average is at all.
Something like that.
I think you got higher than me, which I'm upset about. But it's fine. Yeah,
I only took it once.
So the thing is, it was not an all-black crowd. It was not a mostly black crowd. And that's annoying. Sean Hannity posts about this, and Gavin Newsom, he's still going on this lifelong struggle. I just wanted to read it because he's really playing up the dyslexia that he's trying to carry the dyslexic vote in the elections.
He's trying to relate to you.
Yeah.
He's a rich white guy who's had privileges his whole life, but he's just like you.
Yep. To Sean Hannity,
he's a victim.
Gavin Newsom says, earmuffs, everyone, you didn't give a shit about the President of the United States of America posting an ape video of President Obama or calling African nations shitholes. Guys, come on. That's true. There's no reason to get upset about that. Listen, I've been to 3 of them, and it's true. It was bad. It was really bad. But you're going to call me a racist for talking about my lifelong struggle with dyslexia. Spare me your fake effing outrage, Sean. And then Nina Turner pops in. She's like, hold on. You guys are doing dumb stuff. I'm dumb too. And she says, a lot of us care about both. What now? So she cares about the 960 score and the ape video. And I think she cares about Gavin Newsom's dyslexia struggle. I'm not really sure. I think maybe she cares about all the things.
How does he write these posts on X?
I want to know how he's reading these books in this post from 2022 where he says reading some banned books to figure out what these states are so afraid of. So
I like the caption here, so I guess he was just looking at the pictures.
And so were you lying then, Gavin? Answer the question. I want to know. Yeah, probably he wasn't reading. I don't know if he can read or not, and I don't care.
Yeah,
I just want him to go away.
Whether or not he was reading this anyway it's just a photo op for this specific post.
Yeah.
So
anyway, don't worry. So while I disagree with the way that I think it was in Wokeness, it was the original post on there, and we've seen a lot of people saying, well, the left does this. You know, they'll take something and they'll make it like, oh, this person obviously said something racist or whatever. The left does this and we got to play the same games as them. And I just don't agree with that. I just don't even agree. I don't agree with winning on the basis of misinforming people. I'm not okay with that, because then, like, did you really win? Did your ideas really win? Or did you have to lie to people to get them on your side? Are your ideas that good if you have to lie to people to get them on your side? And that's what the left thinks. They need to lie to people to get them on their side because their ideas suck, and that's what they've resorted to. Just get better at telling people what your ideas are and why they're better, and also why you are better than the other people. And you're not going to prove that by doing what the other people do. That's like left-wing stuff. I hate Gavin Newsom. He's probably racist. That's fine. I think he's either lying about reading those books or lying about the fact that he can't read good. Either one of those things.
Could be lying about his SAT scores. We have no idea.
Don't want him to be president. I'd like him to be recalled as governor. I'd like him to honestly probably be deported from the country. That'd be fine too. But I also don't just want to blatantly lie to people about something for 58 million views, although I bet that paid out pretty good, and we should talk about that later on. So, that's where we're going wrong. And just to stay dumb on Gavin Newsom, this is sort of a bridge between number 3 and 4 right here. This is a picture from the U.S. Department of Education, which shouldn't even have enough funding to keep their Twitter account going, by the way, but they still do. It's a picture of kids in a school with an American flag. They're saying the Pledge of Allegiance, and it says "Make Education Great Again." And his press office reposts with "White nationalism, make education great again." I think because this is like an old photo, and maybe because all the kids are white, it's white nationalism is. Someone can explain this to me.
There's a kid in the very front there that's not white, even though the face is kind of covered up with the flag.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think you can tell by
her skin does look darker.
Yeah. So yeah, Newsom. This is
sure.
We want to go back to white nationalism.
White nationalism.
It's so ridiculous.
Hey, I hate the Pledge of Allegiance, but I don't get it. I don't get that right there. All right, number 4. This is a Democrat representative, Maxine Dexter, talking about we're going on white supremacy now.
Maxines,
Maxine, just not a lot of great Maxines out there. It's a big issue that we have these days. 19-second clip of her deciding to randomly remind the crowd that RFK Jr.'s push for whole milk is also tied to white supremacy, because drinking milk is
what you're trying to say
supremacy.
Is that this is a 19-second clip just showing everyone how dumb she is.
It's just dumb.
Please ask for the science-based regimens, not whatever RFK Jr. is getting kickbacks on, or whatever whole milk, white supremacy, dog whistling that's happening right now. I'm getting a little too political, but
all right, so I don't know where the connection between white milk and white is there a legit connection there? Anyone in the Fed Haters Club? Have you guys seen? Is there a legit connection between those two things? My assumption is this is like the OK symbol, like 4chan kind of joke would be my bet. And by the way, I don't think RFK or the administration are getting kickbacks for talking about the whole milk. I think that this is all a big scheme by the U.S. government marketing corporation called Dairy Management Incorporated, and this is the new Got Milk from the thing that we saw from the 90s, and this is what they're doing right now. Anyhow, anyone know about the white milk thing?
I have no idea.
Do you feel supremely white when you drink milk? Because you're a big milk drinker.
I love milk, but
yeah?
I love... Well, I don't like strawberry milk, but I love chocolate and white milk.
You like chocolate and white milk?
I like both.
Okay.
They're both delicious.
But you don't like the reds?
No.
Okay.
I'm just not a big fan of having like fruit-flavored milk. Seems awkward to me.
I got you.
Unless you're eating like Fruit Loops.
So you're a homophobe?
Maybe.
All right.
I don't like rainbow milk.
I gotcha. All right, what else do we have here? Oh, sticking on white supremacy here for a minute.
Real quick though, how do people like omit these words? And you could tell she kind of struggled with it. She had to get it in there, but she kind of struggled with it. It's like, where do they learn this stuff? It's like, this doesn't seem like their idea.
I think she struggled also because she realized she was like speaking in front of a high school. Like, you notice it was like a school logo on the front. Like, she was like, oh, I'm good talking about RFK Jr. and white supremacy right now. And, you know, this kid's ready to go to their next class. No one cares.
Yeah.
That was a state rep, by the way, not a U.S. rep. And that was from Oregon, for all of our Oregon listeners that are hanging out with us right now. If you watching on YouTube at this moment know the connection between white milk and white supremacy, if there is a legit connection or where that came from, let us know in the comment section below.
That's great.
Here's another really dumb, I guess, white supremacy moment. This one came from the State of the Union speech and Rashida Tlaib, and this is when the hockey team came in, the men's hockey team came in, and they're chanting USA, and she's chanting KKK at this moment. And I'm like, what? Is this the hockey team moment, or is this when they were bickering back and forth? I don't know which one. All right, so it's pretty clear. It's pretty clear she's chanting KKK over USA. It's just what I'm told. This is during the hockey moment. You know, I'm told that's what's going on. I'm not entirely sure. Yeah,
who cares?
What are you talking about?
Yeah, people are chanting USA.
Is that still what we're dealing with right now? Are we dealing with this massive white supremacist culture? Minorities being purposefully held back? Are people getting lynched? What's going on? What are we doing here? The Democrats made fools of themselves, and Trump's strategy, his team's strategy, was great at the State of the Union. Like, talking purely political. I'm not looking for like anything to really get solved or done. I'm just talking pure politics right here.
Oh, yeah.
They're smart. He gave them several opportunities to make fools of themselves and
they fell right in line.
Yeah. To not be like moderate, like normal people, but to really showcase how crazy some of them were, but giving them like obvious times that everyone should be standing up for something that like 90% of Americans would agree with, like the job of the American government is to protect U.S. citizens first before illegal aliens. And most people would agree with that. I'd like to refine a little bit and say it's to protect like property rights, but still U.S. citizens first. If you make it really broad, like property rights, and you're like, well, you know, those people in Afghanistan don't have the right to go to school, so I guess we should go over there and protect property rights. And so, yeah, I guess you should say American citizens are just within our border. But anyhow, that's dumb. The point of that is that it's dumb. And then they also held their own like parallel State of the Union. This was actually Defiance.org that held this. And I did ask for a list of the big names that were at this thing. And we got Robert De Niro, Mark Ruffalo, Tom Arnold, Jim Acosta, Mehdi Hassan, Don Lemon, Wajahat Ali, and who the heck is this person with the same last name as me? That's weird.
Baratunde Thurston.
We had Stacey Abrams, Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, Ron Wyden, Eric Swalwell, a bunch of people here, Marianne Williamson, Joe Walsh.
This is their own State of the Union?
Yeah, they did like their own thing for them to do. And they're just like, you know, we're not crazy like those crazy right-wingers. We're just your normal, average, everyday Democrats, you know, just like JFK was. And so
I'm fresh out of an ICE prison in Minneapolis. I've been arrested 3 times by ICE over absurdity, over us being ourselves, over me singing songs like, hey, Mr. Tangerine Man, get rid of brown people for me. I'm Aryan white. There ain't no place I'm going to. And then all of a sudden, he's not ready for primetime player ICE agents with 2 weeks of...
Okay. I'm glad you brought it up, Charlie, because take it from us libertarians. This might actually be worse than this guy being in his underwear.
Yeah.
Because if you're just listening right now, the guy's wearing a giraffe costume with big, like, ski sunglasses on, basically.
He does have underwear on. Looks to be maybe thongish.
No, I think those are like udders. I think it's like a full giraffe costume going on here. Pretty sure.
Can we watch the rest of this, Dumb?
Sure, let's see.
Training, come after me. I got arrested in Portland. I got arrested in Minneapolis in the last 3 weeks twice. But they can't erase a movement, all right? What I went...
No, I think you're right about that just being like a thong that he's got on.
I think so. He just wearing it on top of the costume.
Okay, interesting.
Through is 1/1000th
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Marginalized people and what they have to go through in those ICE detention centers.
Is he handing out
And I
Slim
want to
Jims
tell you
after
something
this?
right now. There's an announcement. Pumpkin Spice Satan is making his way to the State of the Union. So you know what we're going to do? We're going to rev up the show right now. We're giving out prizes. We're going to have
Slim Jims.
bingo. We're going to storm the White House with love and compassion.
Honestly, if there would have been a coup attempt after that, he would have been guilty of incitement, I think.
Yeah.
According to Democrats, pretty sure. Yeah, so it's just important to remind everyone, as much as we make fun of everyone on the right or we talk about everything that we disagree with, it's because they're in power right now and we wish they would do things differently. Make no mistake, I think both of us still believe that the left is monumentally crazier and worse.
Yes.
And insane. So don't get that confused. Don't hear what we're not saying. All right, that's number 4. How about number 5? We got Bernie Sanders. Speaking of crazy people on the left, and then we're going to get to the joke for number 6.
The joke.
You guys know what I'm talking about with the joke? So talking about wealth taxes right now, and this is specifically talking about California, and he's got a response here when it comes to whether or not people are going to leave California or the people that have announced that they're going to leave California. Here's a little bit of that, and we have another Bernie Sanders video followed by a Ro Khanna video after this.
So the issue comes down to whether or not we ask the wealthiest people in this country, many of them living right here in California, to start paying their fair share of taxes so that 3 million people in the state can get health care. And I think the answer is pretty obvious. Yes, that's what we've got to do.
Well, we've already seen Larry Page, Peter Thiel, David Sachs, Larry Ellison start to move out of the
isn't
state.
that something?
But the argument.
No,
yeah.
here's what the argument is.
Yeah.
The argument is it is outrageous. What they are saying to the people of California is it doesn't matter to us. We're billionaires, and we're getting richer and richer. And if children die because they can't get to a doctor, tough luck. We have the power, California. Yes. And we are going to punish you. Now, they lie a lot, these guys. When Mamdani was running for mayor in New York City, you may recall all the rich guys were going to leave. It didn't happen. Now, whether they do or not, I don't know. Who knows? But the idea that they are saying that it's okay for children to die, people not get the health care they need, and they're going to punish the people of California, that is outrageous. And by the way, that is why I will be introducing a national wealth tax. Where are they going to run that? Maybe they'll run to Saudi Arabia. I suspect that's where they'll go. But, you got to, at some point, you got to stand up to these guys.
But that's the Newsom argument, that we should do it nationally, but if we do it just here, it's going to hurt California's revenue.
I'm going to introduce the legislation. It ain't going to pass right away. Yeah. And if California can do it, this will be a message, by the way, not only to America, it'll be a message to the world, because this oligarchy is taking over countries all over the world. So this is a big deal.
Okay. So if you're a billionaire who's going to leave California, it means you don't care about kids who can't get health care, that came up here from Guatemala for health care, and they need it. What?
They came up here from Guatemala and they can't get the health care they need.
This is what you're saying, is you don't care about that.
Because these billionaires are just hoarding wealth.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do for the incentive of productive activity? I mean,
people will do it out of the goodness of their hearts. That's why they're going to do it.
I wake up every morning and my goal is to build businesses to give away
for no reward.
Yes.
Yeah.
To give away.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand.
Yeah, you totally get.
It's so funny coming from a guy like this too, who's done nothing but be in government his whole life.
That's all he's done.
It's just his paychecks have been
his whole life arguing that other people's stuff should be his.
All the money he's earned, I say earned, in quotes, has literally come from taxpayers, or he's solicited voluntary donations.
Yep.
And then with that, he's bought, multiple properties. And
well, he sold a book.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
He did.
And so if you want that money, you could write a book too.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah,
it'd be fine. Another dumb part of this is like, well, that means they don't want kids to have health care, as if California hasn't taxed enough money. Like, let's say you were going to pay for it. You think California hasn't taxed enough money and spent enough money and wasted enough money on different things, that the real problem is that they just haven't taxed enough from the people that are there in the state?
Doesn't
They've already
California
got massively
have
high taxes?
Just California has the third highest economy in the world or something
fourth,
like that?
It's fourth or fifth.
GDP?
Yeah. If it were its own country, it would be fourth or fifth highest GDP.
It's like California is a rich nation.
And they've got some of the highest taxes in the country, if not the highest. And they're saying the problem is that they're not taxing enough.
The kids are still dying.
Yeah, we just need more taxes. And in fact, the funny part is the California taxes, trust me, bro, it's a one-time tax of 5%, 1% per year.
Because we're going to feed the kids
years.
and they'll no longer,
and then there
no
won't
more kids
be,
will be hungry.
Any poor people after that. And so there'll be no need to continue doing that tax afterwards. It's just only one time.
Yeah.
So that's
Trust
a lie.
Me, bro, in legislation, probably.
I think they put it right in there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to go to this. This guy had a really good question for Bernie Sanders, which he totally just dodged how important this question was. And keep in mind, once again, this is Bernie Sanders and Rokana up here talking about why we need to do wealth taxes. And the guy asked, we've got basically the same education, like the same people as Europe, Why is it that you don't get any of these big innovations out of Europe? Why aren't there any big like global Fortune 500 is US, but like global 500 companies coming out of the UK or whatever? Why aren't they creating any of these things? Why did all these things come from America, the things that are changing the world? And he just totally sidesteps and he's like, well, they do have healthcare for everyone. And so here's
despite similar levels of education and development, Europe has produced almost none of the world's largest frontier tech firms, while the United States dominates global tech innovation. I want to ask, what institutional or economic features do you think explain this difference? Earlier, Congressman Khanna said that government dollars led to AI. Why haven't European government dollars led to such innovation? Are our congressmen like y'all so much smarter investors than them? Or is it that our entrepreneurs face a better set of incentives at the margin than them? In short, I'm asking you to explain not why we have inequality, but why we've had so much growth over the last 2 decades.
Great question.
Yeah. Because we are very smart people who have been incentivized, who have worked very hard. But you know what?
Stop right there.
In most European...
We have smart people who are incentivized.
And they work very hard.
And they work very hard. Well, why do they? Why?
Because they're incentivized.
They're incentivized by what?
The reward of working really hard.
What's the reward?
And succeeding. Money.
Profit.
Yes.
Profit.
Yeah.
By the way, just a little personal note. I've been first time running an investor circuit and talking to a bunch of VCs and stuff. I've never done that before. I've been doing that the last month or so. Very interesting circle. I've learned a lot. And I'll tell you one quick thing about trying to get somebody to invest in you is they want to know how much profit you're going to make or what you think you're going to make. Like what's your best guess on your revenue model and what the return on the money they're going to give you is.
Yeah, well, because like we think about this as, and I don't do when I go and buy stock in a company, I don't really think about it that way, but you're coming in and becoming a part owner of the company is what you're doing. That's why you
That's
get
how Warren
like,
Buffett
they
thinks
have
about it.
meetings and stuff, and like you get meeting notes, and you get like you're a part owner of the company. You can go to the meeting and vote on things, and so yes, of course, when they come in as a part owner of the company with you, they want to know if they're going to make any money off of that, and not just on paper. Are they going to pay out some dividends? Like you're going to get paid if the company profits. You know, I'm also a part owner of the company. Am I going to get paid if the company profits also along the line? Of course they want to know that. And let me play another 20 seconds of his statement, and then we'll be done with this video. And I've got more differences between like what you're doing and what happens in the UK or in Europe in general. because he's just going to say, well, they do have health care, basically. So here's that.
Countries, all people have health care is a human right. In most European countries, it doesn't cost $80,000 a year to go to college. In most European countries, they have strong child care systems.
By the way, he's making the argument worse.
I understand the argument. If we don't have any regulation and you give tax breaks to these large companies, they will create these technologies.
Yeah, we don't have any regulation, and we also don't tax these companies. Yeah. That's what I.
Well, and then when he's
noticed.
talking about the European countries, how they have childcare and healthcare, and the education doesn't cost that much. Okay, they have all of these bases covered that you say is going to make things better for more innovation and things like that. But the problem is they're not producing innovation over there,
and they actually get to benefit from the fact that we do produce the innovation. Like all of these countries that have decided to take their chips down. Have benefited from the fact that we're still over here creating shit for the rest of the world that can make their lives better. And, what would happen if the same thing happens over here? It's what we've talked about with socialism before. Like it all stops. It just starts going backwards after that. You don't create any new things. You just spread out what currently exists, and then it just keeps averaging down every year after that. And that's not the way to go. I mean, the UK and Europe in general, it's pretty easy. There's big differences, of course, with the tax structures for the reward that you can get. There's difference with the corporate structures. There's a difference in the hiring and firing practices. It's much harder to fire people over there. And I read something.
Then the expenses are a lot higher.
Yeah. I read something a couple weeks ago, actually, that they're actually going to get hurt by AI first. Because people are more likely to go to AI over there because it's so hard for them to fire people that they hire. And so they're going to stop hiring people quicker than people in the U.S. will because it's easier for us to fire people in many places in the U.S. and in the U.S. in general. And so they are...
Unless you work for the federal government.
Yeah. They are immediately like disincentivized from hiring new people when this AI tool could do the job, and they could end up getting hurt first from that. But other than that, there's just a whole, like, our culture is different. People settle for less over there. I tell you what, I went to London. I spent a day there. I don't ever want to go back. It was like going back in time 25, 30 years, and not like everything was less stressful. I didn't have to deal with the social media and all that. It was just like amenities just gone, and they never perfected the toilet, like we did here. And people just said it's like it's hot outside and they can't set their AC below 80 or whatever stupid number they give it over there, and so like they just settle for
probably like 20 degrees.
Yeah, whatever. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
In Celsius. I'm not really sure.
21.
Yeah. And so the culture is totally different. And we have like a risk-taking culture over here. And we have that American dream. You can come here and create something. The people over there just don't have it.
Yeah.
It's like been beat out of them over 1,000 years.
And by the way, the cool thing, this is what's still cool about America is like, okay, sure, you can say, well, the government invented the internet. Okay, fine, whatever. That's the research dollars that went into creating the first version of the internet. But then look what American innovation did with the internet. Like, we spawned entire new industries just based online. What we're doing right now literally didn't exist before the internet. Never mind the social media companies and streamlining all sorts of things. And then because of that, we're now in the AI era, which is going to completely revolutionize a ton more things, all because of American innovation and the motive for profit. Because what happens is you get, let's say, a new technology like AI. Like, I can't tell you how many new companies are being created just because they're finding ways to use AI that is going to be beneficial and productive. Now, what's interesting, though, is every week the AI reinvents itself and becomes even better. And so all those people who are starting companies are going to have to reinvent themselves again. But
because the even newer company is going to be better than them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's funny to me that he made the argument, he like almost steel-manned it for the guy by saying like, well, Europeans have all this great stuff, free healthcare, free childcare, lower education costs. And why don't we have that in America? And then they have all of those things, and yet they still can't. It's not that they can't, they're not incentivized to be innovative. Because what's the point? Oh, I'm going to grow a $1 billion company so you can take most of it away? For what purpose?
Yeah.
Why would I do that? I'll just let America invent it. And, you know, my standard of living's not that high anyway. I don't really care.
Do you know how many $100 billion companies have been created in the UK over the last 50 years?
Zero.
Isn't that crazy?
That's pretty nuts.
And some people are like, whoa, who cares? Rich people. I'm like, no, they got that because they created stuff for people. They produced things that people wanted, that they wanted to give over their money for. That is creation and production and producing value for your society. And they are fully benefiting from the fact that we're so good at doing it and that we can ship it all over the world. And so because we're running a long time here, we're going to cut a clip out of this. It's been pretty good. I like it. Okay.
Number 5.
We're talking about wealth tax. We're still on number 5.
Oh,
this is number 5.
Okay.
We're talking about wealth
that
taxes.
Each Dumb Bleep has, 15 slides.
Yeah, it's a few things in here. There's so many submissions, and I feel bad every time I don't put one of them in, but it's just not possible.
Stop.
Actually, we just changed the name of the show to Dumb Bleep, and we would never have to show prep really ever. We would just go off of submissions from the live group, and it actually sounds pretty good.
Problem solved.
Yeah. Okay. There's a thing with Ro Khanna right now, and Charlie mentioned it the other day. Sorry, not to call you out. I get that Ro Khanna has been great on teaming up with Thomas Massie and going across the aisle for the Epstein files, and same thing with the War Powers Act. Ro Khanna sucks. He is an economic freaking Marxist. Okay, I don't care what you want to call it. He's out there with Bernie Sanders pushing the wealth tax. He wants higher taxes on everyone. He wants the government to provide Medicare for all. He is a leftist that knows how to talk to people, that knows how to not look insane all the time. That's what he is. Okay. And I did get a little bit upset when I saw the LPCLC, the Classical Liberal Caucus, talking about getting Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna together on a ticket, on a libertarian ticket, especially when it comes from people that are more, I don't want to call them left-wing libertarians, but a little bit more anti-Trump or whatever, anti-MAGA right libertarians. I don't know what the right word is for them. Who are like, yeah, what do you say, Ro Khanna? I'm like, I thought you were mad at people for supporting Trump. I thought you were mad at libertarians for supporting Trump because he's not libertarian, Are you telling me that if Trump would have decided to run as a libertarian, you wouldn't have gotten mad as the libertarians who wanted to vote for him? Is that really what it is? Or maybe you just hate Trump? That could potentially be the case. I'm sorry. Maybe some people disagree. I do not want Ro Khanna on a freaking Libertarian Party ticket. That does more destruction than asking some libertarians to vote for a Republican Donald Trump. Because at least there you're holding the line and saying like, yeah, he's literally a Republican. He's not running as a libertarian, but we think maybe there's some utility in doing this.
Who would be a Democrat that you'd be fine with being on the ticket with Massie? Is there one?
I'm not saying there isn't one. I can't name one though.
Is there like a middle of the road, like not great on economics, but not so crazy? I guess it used to be maybe Tulsi Gabbard.
No, she was awful on economics.
Yeah, but she wasn't this crazy on economics.
She wanted the 95% windfall profits tax during COVID. She literally wanted to take the money that the companies made during COVID and tax 95% of it because the government shut down everyone except for a few businesses.
So they got a windfall.
They got a windfall. Like, no, I'm not. Maybe there are some, and I just don't know who they are.
Who represents Middle America?
Middle America, as a Democrat.
Who represents like the true independents? Because half the country is independent. You got 25% Republican, 25% Democrat, roughly. I think it's 23 and 24. The majority is independents who don't like either party.
Yeah,
and they're not gravitating towards libertarian.
I don't know if they're more like right-leaning independents or left-leaning, because there's like a populist thing that the right and the left are agreeing on right now, which is that evil people are awful and the big corporations are terrible, and that it's fine to tax them or punish them or hold them back because I'm mad that they have a lot of money. And people are buying into that idea that that's why things are bad right now.
What about, somebody brings up a good point, T-Dub. What about Fetterman? He's kind of changed a bit. Maybe he got struck by God or something.
He's the brain injury guy from PA.
Maybe he got hit by lightning from God or something. He's kind of flipped a little bit, and Democrats hate him now.
Let's see. Are we talking about someone that I like or someone that represents middle America? Is that the question?
I'm trying to think of how do we capture the audience that most of America would agree with. Like, the Democrats and Republicans are doing a really good job of being loud minorities, technically speaking. Right?
Here you go, being racist again.
So the question becomes, how do you capture the audience of most of Americans who are just, it's like, you go out and you talk to people, most people are pretty normal. Like, yeah, they may disagree like slightly on some things, but they're not these crazy wackos on the left, and they're not the crazy wackos on the right. They're pretty normal people. How do you capture that audience? Thomas Massey could be one of them, of course, somebody we would agree with, who's very principled, definitely libertarian, but I think most Americans agree that this guy is just, tells the truth. Who would that be on the left? Do we have one?
So as far as telling the truth, or being true to what they believe, people like Ro Khanna and Bernie Sanders those guys believe what they're saying. Ro Khanna truly believes that we need a wealth tax and that we need to provide Medicare for all. And so, like, is he an honest person? Because a lot of people just want honesty from someone. And, they get that from Massey. You get a lot of honesty from Trump, too. As, you might not like it, but says a lot of what's in his head. Ro Khanna and Bernie Sanders, they are honest people. Their ideas are honestly terrible, but they're at least honest with people. I don't know who on the left represents middle America or independents really at all. And people are generally, I think, driven by fear of the other people. Like, that's really what you got to do. Which is what Trump was trying to do in the State of the Union. Like, hey, you guys remember how crazy the left is? Let me show you. And gives them an opportunity.
One of the reasons you voted for Trump, by the way.
Yeah.
I remember leading up to the election, we were talking about how crazy the left was. And we're like, we can't allow this.
Well, I thought that
this is worse than Obama being a Muslim.
I thought that we were...
The gaslighting and all that stuff. This is way worse.
Thank God he was only half black. And so I thought that if we went through another 4 years of the Biden presidency, that it would be too late to ever have the chance of coming back. So I did have a fear with that. And also I had a hatred of the left too, because the media was doing so much gaslighting. And I was like, who deserves to lose the most? And I felt like the left deserved to lose the most. So I did my part to try and help deliver a loss for the people I thought deserved to lose. I think if you want to get middle America, you got to make them afraid of both parties and tell them why both parties are screwing everything up. And how if we continue with what Republicans have been doing and Democrats have been doing, it's not going to be good. Here's a better option. Why don't we not do what these guys have been doing? That's really how a lot of politics works. Because people will give up.
When are you running?
I'm not ever.
All right, Dumb Bleep number 6.
We got to move on. Let's go to 6. This will probably be the last one. Sorry, 7, 8, 9, 10 are going to get cut out. We'll give them honorable mentions, and you can vote if you want to vote for those things. We won't have time to go through all of them, but we do have time for what is just called the joke. And so the joke
heard around the world.
The joke heard round the world happened after the gold medal victory by the men's hockey team, and Trump called them. And by the way, Kash Patel was there, like, you know, slamming beers or whatever he was doing there in the locker room with everyone. And so the administration was getting in. Trump calls and he makes a joke about how he, you know, of course, has to invite the women's team to the, like, just let you know, you guys are coming. And by the way, I got to invite the women too. And we'll play it. I'm sure you've heard it.
Just like you did at the ice.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Now we'll do it at the White House anytime. What would really be cool, and we'll do the White House the next day, we'll just have some fun. We have medals for you guys. And we have to, I must tell you, we're going to have to bring the women's team. You do know that. I do believe I probably would be impeached, okay?
All right. There's the joke.
I'm so offended. Just offense overwhelms my body.
Now listen, I'm not on hockey Twitter. I haven't seen all of the freak out over this really at all. I did hear it like the day it came out. I was surprised it wasn't like a bigger deal immediately. Like that day, it seems like it took it a few days for people.
I thought it was a big deal immediately.
Was it? Like I saw it. I didn't. Maybe that's just not showing up in our feed. But I've had basically almost no Olympic/hockey anything showing up in our feed. So Grok's doing a pretty good job overall. People are upset about this. Before we get into it, maybe a little bit difference of opinion. First off, I don't care. I think people should quit bitching, get over it. Number two, I understand why that could be, say, hurtful specifically to the women on the hockey team. Now, everyone else who's deciding that this is hurtful, it doesn't have anything to do with you. You weren't at the Olympics. No one cares. Okay. Everyone else who's taking this on, like as a woman or whatever, sure. But specifically the women's hockey team, you are the best women assembled into a team to play hockey in the world this year
for this Olympics.
For this Olympics, and for all the people that you competed against, you came out the best in the world, and that is true for the men as well. For all the people that they competed against, their goaltender came out the best in the world, and so that's a joke, but. You know, a team is a team.
Careful with jokes now.
I know. A team is a team, and the men's hockey team had that goaltender on it, and so that is the best team.
Yeah. I've got a little bit different thoughts.
I know. So I'm going to say my one thing that I told you earlier, why this is actually different, and people just have to accept it, although it may be hurtful. It's a sad fact of life. Hockey's a very physical sport. The best women in the world are not going to beat the best men in the world at hockey. Okay. That's not going to happen. There are sports where you could say they're kind of even out with the genders. Hockey's not one of them. One of the reasons people care so much about this, number one, more men watch hockey than women. A lot of women watch hockey, but a lot more men watch hockey. And so they're going to get more excited about the men's team winning. Number two, the women winning gold means that the women's team is the best women's team in the world this year, right now. The men winning gold mean that they are the best hockey players in the entire world assembled. So the women's team is like better than half of the world at hockey, and the men's team winning means they are better than the entire world at hockey. That's not the case for every single sport, but
I will say for that game, because
that's how it works.
Yeah.
Yes, for that game.
Because the men's team still got outplayed by Canada. The
men's team includes,
Parker calls the puck, or he used to when he was a kid. He called it a cookie. And that's just the way the cookie fell in that game. But Canada certainly outplayed. If you watch the game and you know anything about hockey, Canada certainly outplayed the United States. It's just they couldn't get past Connor Hellebuyck, and
as an assembled team, the goaltender for the men's team in the U.S. is part of that team. And so when I say that their team is the best, that includes their goaltender, even if he did better than a bunch of other people. But that means that is the best team. He wasn't on the Canadian team; he was on the U.S. team.
And you got to give credit to Jack Hughes. The guy got his teeth literally one broken in half, a couple other missing, and then he ends up, taking the overtime shot to win it for the men. I got a couple different thoughts, which is, first of all, it's a joke. Okay, you can clearly tell by Trump's inflection of his voice that it's a joke. Especially when he follows it up and be like, "I'll be impeached." It's a joke. And I can't tell you how many female comedians I've listened to that make fun of men as a whole. Okay, that gets lots of laughs.
It's all
by
of them.
the
That's
way.
like all female comedians.
Yes,
is their entire joke.
They
book.
joke about how small their wiener is. They joke about how bad in bed they are. They joke about men in general being terrible people and all this stuff. Like, it's a joke. Okay, that's one. Two, what I see happening online is that, and it's so funny, I have to make this disclaimer. I love women. I think women have incredible skills, and I think they do things that men can't do at all. And they are equal but different. Okay? Men are stronger and more physical and more athletic. It's just the way it is. Like, there is not a single woman who can compete on the same level as the best men in the world in any sport. I don't care what it is. That is just like physics. That is the truth of physics. And that is not in any way demeaning towards women, because guess what you can do, women? You can create life. The greatest miracle in human existence is reserved to women that men can't do. And that has to be the coolest thing ever. And like, I don't understand why that's not more celebrated, that women literally have the gift of creating life, a literal miracle on earth that no one else can do. And that makes women cooler than men, definitely in that aspect. Why are we trying to compete in different domains and trying to outshine the other? It makes no sense to me. And there were men in that locker room that said, I can't remember exactly what they said right away, but they said, that's right, or something like that. And then another one started chanting 2 for 2, 2 for 2. And then, a bunch of them laughed because it was a joke. And, hey, I got to invite the women too. A lot of women are taking offense to this, which I find strange and they're all saying, well, they won the same medal that the men did. And it's like, well, no, they didn't actually. They won a gold medal in a separate category. They won a gold medal in women's hockey. The men won a gold medal in men's hockey. There are separate categories for a reason. What is that reason? Different strengths and weaknesses of men and women. And I think that that's appropriate. That's the way it should be. Now, a lot of these people, the other thing that rubs me wrong about this is a lot of people complaining about the women not getting the same recognition as the men are the same ones who are just fine with men competing in women's sports. And it blows my mind. That's same weird. People who were fine celebrating Caitlyn Jenner as a woman of the year, who was a dude with a penis and boobs, fake boobs, who won woman of the year. They're just fine with those things. But then they somehow get offended that Trump made a joke about inviting the women to the State of the Union or the White House too. Like, I don't understand how you can correlate those things. We should celebrate both men and women equally for their accomplishments, but you can't say they're the same thing, because they're not. And I promise you, if you put the men's team on the ice against the women's team on the ice, the men will win 100 out of 100 games. And I would put money on that. And that's just the way it is. If you put men in the hospital and women in the hospital, women will 100% birth all the babies. Okay? And I know that might sound funny, but to me, that's the coolest thing. I think women should feel powerful for that. Like,
you
legit.
Put men in the kitchen and women in the kitchen, women will 100% cook all the food.
To me, this thing is blown so out. And you know what? I think the captain of the women's U.S. hockey team has handled this absolutely beautifully. Where she said, like, hey, it was a joke, and it was kind of offensive, but, we're really close with the men's team, and, we know their hearts and they know our hearts, essentially. Like, this doesn't,
people are very upset with the men that laughed at the joke.
Yeah.
I think that's fine to laugh at the joke. I think that's ridiculous. I mean, first off, in the moment the president of the United States is talking to you on the phone and telling you a joke, you're probably going to give him a laugh regardless,
right?
If you're not insane. And so you're like living in that moment. That's going to happen. You're going to be super excited about and just like, what the heck
president
is
called
right
us. Now? Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you've met like a legit famous person before in real life, but probably something in your brain switched off and made you act differently than you normally would. And so even if you want to get mad at people, like, okay, this is like the most famous person that there is on the entire planet, you know? So that's
probably
one
more
thing
famous than even previous presidents, because
and plus it was just a funny joke that was timed really well and everything. And so that, you know, he's a funny guy, and it did sound like he was joking, and obviously like the men would not have a problem with the women being there too. Like was he legitimately trying to break it to them that the women's team's going to be there too? Like he thinks they're going to have an issue with that? Like, that was a joke.
Yeah.
Clearly.
And look, what I find interesting is that people get offended when you just say the truth. And, you know, saying that men are physically stronger and more athletic than women somehow is offensive to people and women, and you get called sexist or whatever. And so that to me is strange. It's strange in my autistic brain, because all I'm saying is that 2 + 2 = 4. And you're like, well, that's strange. You're a sexist for believing just in reality itself.
I want to reiterate my point from earlier a little bit. Let's take out the whole team thing. If there's women's and men's category, and it's something involving physical strength, and I'm sorry, this might be tough for people to hear, and it might suck, or you might not like it or whatever. But if a woman gets a gold medal in that category, it means that she's better than all the women probably in the world. And if a man gets a gold medal in the men's category, it means that he's better than everyone on the entire planet. Assuming, you know, people who didn't try out or whatever. You guys get what I'm saying. And so is it a bigger award for does it say more when the man gets the gold medal in that? It sort of says that you're better than the whole world at something, while the women's medal does not say that. It says you're better than half the world at something. Still really cool. It's better than anything I could do. Any of them could probably kick my ass and definitely beat me on a hockey field.
Especially since you called it a field.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if they played field hockey, they'd probably still beat you.
That too. Of course they could.
And all the women would definitely, kick my butt in ice hockey for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, there's not a single, women's ice hockey player that I could beat. Now, if they wanted to play basketball or something, I could probably beat them in that sport. But it's just, it's blown way out of proportion. People take on, and I find it interesting too that you use something like this to take on like these feelings, and then you use it. I've seen nothing but an attack on men from this, which is just blowing my mind. That you see people saying that men are a disappointment, and this is why I don't trust men or whatever, because they laughed at a joke.
What's that? And not speaking up right now is basically the same as allowing rape culture to keep going.
Yeah.
That's you having this opinion right now, but we don't really have time for all the stuff we had pulled in. Thanks Costco for sending all of it anyway. But there's like this really good Instagram video. It's kind of funny. It's this guy giving I don't know if it's a TED Talk or what it is, about how you have to speak up when you're hearing that they're jokes or whatever. And as he's telling this, and this has to do with like,
well, before you get to there, I
rapists.
want to bring up one of the ladies in our Fed Haters Club says people are too soft. All my husband and I do is talk shit with jokes. It's a good time.
Yeah.
I know your relationship is similar. My relationships are similar. We all joke with each other. It's fun. It's fun. Lighten up. Don't take everything so seriously. And plus, all these women who are upset about it, Trump didn't even say it about you. You weren't included in that. It was a joke about the women's hockey team, which, by the way, you weren't on. Okay? Why do you feel it necessary to elevate yourself to take on this struggle?
And how is it so much that, like, it's just crazy how it immediately gets negative political when you bring in the women. Like, you see the negative political stuff, while the men, I think, regardless of who the president was, USA men's hockey team was going to pile into the State of the Union speech. They were going to be draping themselves in flags. No one's going to be talking about how awful it was or that people were chanting the USA or anything like that. Just regardless of who the president was, would have been fine. But it's like with the women, it like has to get turned into this like negative political thing, probably because it's coming from Trump or because they were laughing at a joke that Trump made or whatever. It's just, you know, I think men are leaning more right, obviously, and women are leaning more left, and maybe that's why that happens. I don't think, by the way, that men have any responsibility to stand up and call out other people, mainly because I don't think that we exist as a collective where we all take on part responsibility for all of the other people who also have penises. I don't think that that's like a club that we're all immediately in and we all like know each other or something like that, and that we need to speak out, which is how some people have called this. Like, even if you stayed silent, like basically silence is violence on this issue right here.
Oh, we're not silent about it.
No, we're not silent about stuff at all. But I've seen a lot like that. And yeah, I don't know.
What does this gay guy say?
Which one?
I thought you were going to play a video.
Well, so this video is like a story about rapists or whatever. It's actually the text that this person's putting over it, basically drawing the comparison with the U.S. hockey team. So the first thing here at the top, it says, when the men's U.S. hockey team laughed at President of the United States' misogynistic joke, this is what we heard. Yep, I hate Instagram videos.
Will not spend a single day in jail. That is a real statistic.
Rapist.
That is fucking abhorrent. So how do we fix that?
Bleep didn't do anything.
How does society, how do we fix this? How do we stop this happening? The only thing I can think of is it has to involve us. And by us, I mean men. Now, to the women in the room, I know you know this. None of this is new information. And to the men in the room, I want to make something crystal clear. This isn't an attack. I'm just trying to tell you my experience. I knew this man for 8 years, and he fucking did it. There are monsters amongst us, and they look like...
Oh, I forgot to read the thing at the top. That
look,
was actually
as if they didn't earn the same medal.
So
they didn't earn the same medal. It's not the same. It's the same color. It's the same weight. It's the same amount of gold. Yes. But it's not for the same category. It's not the same medal. Stop saying it. It's not the same.
That's why I was making the point that they say they say different things, unfortunately, for women when the men win and when the women win, about how many people you're better than. And so the dumb part about this video, which I totally forgot, and it's an Instagram video, so there's no ability for me to back it up any, unless I just refresh the entire page and start it over. But as this guy's talking about this rape culture and it's men's job to stand up, there's a little story going on about how this is just like men laughing at Trump's joke. Raping women.
Laughing at a joke.
Laughing at a joke about how you have to invite them to the White House. And those situations are very similar.
What about the jokes that women make about men? Do we have
no.
we have women standing up to other women?
No, women can't be misogynistic because they don't have the power. That's how racism works.
It's mind blowing. What about women standing up for against other women who falsely report allegations?
They should.
Yeah,
they should.
Where are the friends at that say you shouldn't do those kinds of things?
There's a lot of people crying about this. This trans person has a Substack and very upset
Is this a trans
about
woman?
this. I'm not sure. I didn't look into it.
This is a woman with a penis being very upset.
I don't know
the joke.
In the wake of Team's USA gold medal win at the 2026 Winter Olympics, men's ice hockey discourse has trended towards the latter is politics. This is a somber cloud around us now. The way we talk about this game may never be the same after this week. A bubble has been popped, so to speak. NHL fans watch the men they've come to support and root for pop bottles with FBI Director Kash Patel and trade jokes about the women's game with U.S. President Donald Trump. Now they head to Washington, D.C. to attend the State of the Union. just kind of freaking out now. The suspension of disbelief has snapped. Everyone on that Team USA roster openly welcomed and partied with the man, this is Kash Patel, responsible for covering up the largest pedophile sex trafficking ring in the United States history. And we've had plenty to say about the Epstein files and how terrible the DOJ has done with this. But
those two things aren't related.
They're first off not related. Second, the Trump administration is not like the first administration that has dealt with any of the Epstein stuff. Okay, they're not the first ones. And also, I would want to blame the woman Pam Bondi instead. I think that'd be
Epstein
important.
started with Clinton, by the way. So
this has been going on for years.
Clinton,
and there's
Bush, Obama, Trump, Biden, Trump.
Yeah,
they're all complicit. But by the way, they're not related. It has nothing to do with it. It's like, unless you were to take a moral stand that, okay, because this administration is covering up, I want nothing to do with them. Okay, sure, fine. I can get behind that. But look, I guarantee even this trans person, whoever wrote this article, if the president of the United States called your phone, I'm sure you would probably answer. You'd be like, I'm not talking to that fucking guy.
Yeah.
Like, you're probably going to answer the phone. It's the president of the United States.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often. Even just to say, like, even if you argued with him or whatever, you'd answer the phone because you're like, wow, I got a call from the president. Not many people have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You can go around telling everybody, I got a call from the president. Like, you're taking that phone call. It's ridiculous to assume otherwise.
And I'd be nice to him because I would immediately switch from being upset about stuff over the last year to what can I get out of this guy? You know, if it's important enough for him to call me, what can I get?
Maybe I'll convince him not to attack Iran. It's a bad idea.
Yeah. Huffington Post, this one came out, and mainly just got to point out the really funny response to it, which got a ton of views. This article, if waving the American flag or chanting USA turns you off right now, you're not alone. Jimmy's Famous Seafood said, go F yourself, which got 17 million views as a comment on there, which is pretty funny.
They got ratioed pretty hard on that one.
Yeah, pretty big, pretty dumb. They've got like freaking psychologists talking about how you're not alone.
We beat this one to death.
Yeah, we're done. We're getting out of here. So get your votes in. We've only got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sorry. Honorable mentions.
Number 1, socialism. Jim Snow 2.0.
I didn't come up with those. That's
great.
Those were created by others.
That's Mamdani's, jobs program. Socialism for shoveling New York snow, but you have to show ID. Multiple forms of it, by the way. Number 2 was Senator Thune not having enough time for the SAVE Act right now, but
Doggi Gras.
They did have a Mardi Gras parade for dogs in the Senate halls, so that's nice. Number 3, Gavin Newsom can't read. He's just like you, and but also there's a second part to that dumb where the end wokeness video was lying.
Yeah, about who was in the crowd.
Who was in the crowd.
He also said that he can't find his birth certificate, so he's not able to. Yeah.
He lost it when he was 7.
He doesn't even know how to go about getting one.
Number 4 was milk is white supremacy, whatever that rant
and
was.
And a couple other white supremacy things.
Number 5, Bernie Sanders talking about the innovation.
Wealth tax.
And wealth tax. Number
Add
6,
into that the idea of Ro Khanna being involved in the Libertarian Party.
Yep.
Sorry, that's really dumb.
Number 6 was the joke. The joke. All right, everything's tied right now. So we need
the joke. Let's get some more votes in. Take some votes. Let's go get those votes in. Charlie, tell them before you say anything. Comment what you think should win out of those 6 options below on the video right now.
We're not going to count them towards
hit
your
like
vote
or hit subscribe. Yeah, they don't count because you're not paying the poll tax.
Visit the links in the show notes to support the sponsors that support this show. Share it around, and go to joingml.com if you want to be part of the Fed Haters Club. So Nate, I guess you're going to have to break this thing. Break the tie.
I think I'm going to break it and go for the joke. I think that whole situation was ridiculous.
All right,
so we're going to go
joke.
Olympic hockey joke.
Olympic hockey joke.